into some fun facts. Fun facts, that's what we're doing.
No, we're doing fan theories.
Fan theories, yes. These are just basically ones that I've gone on Reddit and had a look for some more, because the ones we did last time were quite interesting, to be fair. Some of them are daft, some of them I actually quite like as fan theories. You know, that the whole point is that you just go, well, this is something that makes everything make sense in my head. It's not necessarily, going to be the true story and whatnot, but it's all fun. So let's dive into it.
Yes.
So the first one is that the Seventh Doctor didn't trust anyone with the knowledge that he'd gained over the years, including himself. He set things up so that upon his regeneration he'd forget certain forbidden knowledge and he didn't trust his future selves with. However, his method was a bit lacking, and the repercussions of it not only caused him to forget this knowledge, but also made the Eighth Doctor a frequent amnesiac. And that is quite a good little thing, because the Eighth Doctor, as you will find out as we carry on this journey...
I've just finished the Natural History of Fear.
Yeah.
That was trippy.
There's a lot of, and it's not just in the audios as well. I think it happens quite a lot in the books and the comics and stuff, where the Eighth Doctor is just always losing his memory. It happens.
Yeah.
It happens a lot.
I have noticed the trend.
Yeah, and we're only at the very start of about halfway into the main range stuff. But
yeah,
there's a lot. It happens when his time with Lucy. It happens, I think, one more time with Charlie and Kerry's as well. It's one of those things that I think it's got the potential to be quite interesting, but there is a risk of it being overdone. But, that's a good little theory. Because the Seventh Doctor is quite manipulative, and he's always 3 steps ahead.
Yeah.
So I quite like the idea that he's going, oh, well, this is too much for anyone else, even my future, to know, so we'll just... But that's cool, I like that one.
Yeah. Just interesting.
Interesting. Yes. Anyway.
The First Doctor was not aware he would survive a regeneration away from Gallifrey, and having realised he was slowly dying after the experience with the time, Time Destructor, tried to hurry off all of his companions so he could die in peace. Unfortunately, Ben and Polly snuck in at the last minute. This also explains why his face is suddenly changing backwards and forwards at the end of his era. It wasn't just because of different actors used, but because while his body was trying to regenerate, his mind was fighting it off.
I really like that one, because the Time Destructor and the effects of it is definitely something that would, obviously they didn't know that at the time, but by now would be enough to induce a regeneration, because it wipes out an entire planet, basically. It turns the Daleks to dust, it kills off Sarah, it 100% would have caused the Doctor to regenerate. Stephen only gets away by, the skin of his teeth.
Yeah.
And I quite like the idea that it's sort of, because there was a lot of behind-the-scenes changes at the times as well, in terms of different producers coming in and wanting to do their own companions. I mean, Vicky goes, John Wiles comes in and brings in sort of Dodo, but then she sort of disappears, and then Stephen, when Innes Lloyd comes in, and the decision is made to sort of recast the Doctor and regeneration is born. But obviously in universe, I quite like the idea that the First Doctor, because that fits in with his character.
Yeah.
He's very stiff up a lip. Stip up. Oh my god.
Stip up.
Stip up a
Stip
lip.
up.
Stip up a lip. I'm working his fake teeth in for a horse.
Nice.
Yeah. It fits in with the character. And it does make sense, because he does go through, after the Time Destructor, there is quite a sort of rotation of companions. Stephen goes quite soon after. Dodo goes. And then he Dodo just sort of buggers off anyway and sort of just sends him a postcard. But yeah, then he's very against the idea of Ben and Polly sneaking on board, even though before he invited these people to come join with him and he kidnapped Ian and Barbara, and he was very much, I think, had made his peace and just wanted to be on his own. Yeah. And then when he finds that Ben and Polly have stowed away on the TARDIS, it's like, hang on, what are you doing here?
Yeah. It's fair enough. It's obviously a very personal time sort of feel regeneration, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't necessarily want people there to watch you change.
Well, we see a similar thing happen with the 13th Doctor in a way as well. She does the same to sort of pie off Yaz and be like, I'm going to do this bit on my own.
Yeah, and it seems like the Doctor only wants those he really, really trusts to see his regenerations. You see David Tennant in Journey's End, Stolen Earth. I know I got that the wrong way around.
I mean, I think, but with that as well, there's also...
I mean, it was a tease, but...
Yeah, but it's even for him that regeneration sort of is out of necessity, though, because he wasn't planning to... Whereas this, he's sort of deliberately holding it back. And
like Capaldi.
Yeah.
Capaldi is... Yeah. I think that's partially why they might have done that with Twice Upon a Time.
And I like the idea that it sort of fits in with the recasting of the first Doctor, because there's even a line in Twice Upon a Time where he's saying, "Oh, we're right near the end, like your face is all over the place," because it sort of can be like you don't look exactly the same, but you look sort of close enough that it's recognisable.
Yeah.
Which is obviously what's going to happen when you cast a different person with a different face to play the same part. Obviously there are similarities there, and but yeah, I think I quite like that idea. And certain Doctors, I think I do like the idea of the Doctor holding off the regeneration, but I think there is a danger of overdoing it. I think it works brilliantly in Caves of Androzani.
Yeah.
Because that fourth episode of Caves of Androzani, which is something I really want to sort of do a bit more in depth, just I think is one of the most like perfect episodes of individual episodes of Doctor Who of all time. Because the whole thing is just the Doctor's already regenerating before Part 3 is even finished.
Yeah.
And he's just holding it off just enough to get Perry and get out. And the whole because there's nothing he can do. Everything is in motion by that point. He can't stop Jack. He can't stop Morgus, and he doesn't really care because his main concern now is just getting Perry, getting the cure, and getting out.
Yeah.
And it's just a perfect. Oh, I love Caves of Androzani. I mean, I love Caves of Androzani anyway, but Part 4 is.
Oh, it's great. It's cinema.
It is pure peak cinema.
Yes.
For 1984 television, anyway.
Yeah. It still holds up well today.
It holds up better than a lot of other stuff. I think that's down to Graham Harper and his very modern direction, because there's nothing else that's directed, even when he came out to do Revelation of the Daleks, there's nothing else in the classic series that's directed like Caves of Androzani. It's so fast paced and it gets quicker and quicker. I like first pace is quite slow, it sort of sets the scene and it gets a bit quicker with more and more jeopardy, and by Part 4 it's just breakneck speed and you're just following the Doctor basically running for his life as he's being shot up by gun runners and exploding like mud blasts and stuff like that, and Peter Davison nearly being blown up while filming it and everything. It's good stuff. Very
Definitely
good
worth
stuff.
a watch. Then on to the next one then.
Yeah, so this one is one that I'm not too sure on, but I want to put it to you because I know your feelings about certain elements of this. So this one is that Jenny is a clone of the Doctor and thus would have the same biosignature. If she was to be caught by the Master, given a TARDIS and brainwashed into believing she were the Doctor, then the Doctor would be very confused when she ran into here, since neither has memory of the other and any scans would show them as the same person. I think the Ruth Doctor is Jenny, and Jenny ends up on Gallifrey as a timeless child growing up to be the Doctor. The reason that the Doctor's personality would vaguely loop, Capaldi being the 14th, the 12th, you know what I mean, similar to the first Doctor, Whittaker being 15th, similar to the second, is because of the immense series of paradoxes around their creation.
See, I was hooked until I saw Timeless Child.
But it's giving you an explanation for it that you might like better than just...
It is a lot better than what we got.
I mean, like any fan theory, it is clutching at straws a bit.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'd love to see Jenny come back. I did like the character quite a bit. It is a shame we only got the one episode of her. But obviously we know she can regenerate as well, so it's perfectly plausible that this could be everything. But, it'd be interesting to see if anything comes of that. But yeah, because obviously you see loads of people as well still saying they want Jenny's going to show up at some point. Even after all this time, when just like she's not going to. They kill him, and then
I think with it, I think if it was going to be done, it would have been done by now, or at some point in the 60th with the 14th Doctor. I don't know if it would really have the same sort of emotional weight to it now.
No, not without David Tennant in the role, I don't think.
I think it still would to an extent, but then there is that sort of chance of going, is this just doing something that should have been done ages ago, and you're just sort of trying... And like the Timeless Child stuff, I think we just sort of have to accept that's not going to be touched again now, maybe referenced to here and there, but I don't think it's going to be expanded on more than it was, because at the end of the day, it was Chibnall's creation, and he sort of had his run and closed it off how he wanted to, however poor it might have been to some people, It's been and gone. I mean, we were both very unhappy with the Timeless Child stuff, and
yes,
I think there's still an element of like missed opportunity, I suppose, because it's one of those things that if it had been tied up properly and had a bit of send off to it, it really would have worked. Because like it's really altered my perceptions of episodes from that era now. Because something like Fugitive of the Judoon, when that was first on, I was like, this is mind blowing. This is great. This is one of the best episodes of Doctor Who we've had in years. This is fantastic. You watch it now and you just think, well, none of this went anywhere. It's all just bait and surprise, and it's just...
Chibnall's run was very much, we're going to open up loads and loads and loads of new stories, and you get to about episode 8 of a 10-episode series, and it's like, crap, where the hell have all these stories gone? And he's frantically trying to tie up the loose ends,
Yeah.
but like inevitably a lot of stuff's going to get missed. But unfortunately, the loose ends he's tying up is not the important stuff. Like the Timeless Child stuff, if that had been handled properly, would have been okay. Like it could have been so much better. It just needed that focus to drive the story home fully. Like it was the build up was interesting. The reveal from the master, I was like, okay, this is it. This could go somewhere. And then you just don't really get anything from it.
Yeah, it
The
doesn't.
next you hear from it is the Flux.
Yeah, I think it's weird because you get the whole stuff with the Vision as well, and sort of like how there's this link in, and we get a Doctor that's, you know, known as the Doctor and has a police box TARDIS, but no, and it's like there was theories of it, but then it immediately jumps from that. You go straight into Praxis and Can You Hear Me, and there's no mention of it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And the thing is that it wouldn't be too bad, but Praxis say immediately afterwards because they get the alarm at the end. It's like, oh wait, pause this here. We've got to go and have another couple of episodes.
Yeah.
And it's like, but even just a couple of lines here and there of them noticing something wrong with the Doctor and being like, oh, we'll talk about it later. Like, we're really big. But there's just none of that.
Yeah, it needed a lot after the bringing up of that, because it's such a big plot point as well. It needed a lot more work done with it, and it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I think that's partially where it first fell flat for me. Anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I was never enamored by the idea, but I eventually sort of came around to it going, well, I can't change it now. You just sort of have to accept it.
It's in there now. It's done.
Yeah.
But
you know, but
it
I
doesn't-
think, would it have been different if the original Series 13, because we still don't know a lot about what the original plans for Series 13 were, because obviously it was reshaped into Flux following COVID and lockdowns and the restrictions that they had to make it. And I applaud Flux for that, because, you know, there were not many other dramas being able to get made to the same, you know, technical and physical quality that it was, whereas Doctor Who, I think, shone in that, because it was like, this doesn't feel like it's been affected by, apart from the script inside of stuff. But like to technically get it all done is still, I think, one of the best achievements. And you know, I think it's the thing that Chibnall should be most proud of for his run, is being able to do that, because lots of other people would have just gone, well, just wait until we can do it,
yeah.
and just do a couple of specials.
And Flux generally was some of the best work from Jodie as well, I thought.
Yeah.
Like, it was definitely her best season.
Yeah, there were some scenes in there where I was like, just do it like this the whole time.
Yeah, it's a shame we got it at the end of her run. But then you can say that with Capaldi, because Series 8 and Series 9 did kind of run flat, but then I think once he knew he was out the door, same with Pertwee when he was still around and playing the Doctor. His last series, he knew he was on his way out the door, so he's like, oh, I'm just going to have some fun with this.
I think,
and it showed.
it sort of takes the pressure off. Not that, you know, we didn't have a good run before then. I think there is just a sort of relaxed atmosphere to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. This next one is a bit daft.
Oh, God. I've just read the first line.
So this one is that Mel Bush is the lost incarnation of River Song. Check out her wiki entry. Her timeline fits perfectly into the missing years between New York and Ledworth. So it's close, so closely that it's hard for me to believe that Moffat didn't plan it that way on purpose. Now, this was made 9 years ago, this comment now. So it's not, you know, obviously we know that it's not true now, but I think, isn't it funny for someone to go, there's a bit of a gap here, because we don't know what happened to River post New York and before her as Mel's in Ledworth with Amy and Rory. There is a gap there. And wouldn't it just be so funny and just to turn around and go, Mel? Even though it fits with nothing that we've seen from either character, apart from the fact that they both have a gap at the same temporal spot.
Yes, but this falls flat just in this sheer fact that we have that scene in Let's Kill Hitler from Mel being a kid with Amy and Rory, and then growing up with them through school and stuff. You get that little montagey bit. So that's where this falls flat on its face for me. Is it just?
I thought I put that one in just because it made me laugh.
What's she gonna do? Regenerate from Alex Kingston into a bloody child?
Well, I mean, that's the whole point. Is that Alex Kingston is the third or fourth incarnation of River, but there's no more because she uses the rest of them to heal the Doctor. But it was obviously set before Mel's, after the child in America, who we can probably assume was the first incarnation of River, sort of grown up a little bit. And then obviously she regenerates in that. We don't see the regeneration, so it's plausible she could have turned into a young Bonnie Langford and seen the silence and lied, scream until I'm sick. That reference is lost on you, isn't it? Yeah, someone will know what I'm talking about. I'm not going
Singing
crazy.
arpeggio.
Yeah, well, I just thought that was funny. It just made me laugh.
It's just reading the comments. It's just like, Christ. Found out her name was going to be Mel, so I was actually starting to believe that a little bit. Bloody hell.
Yeah, I mean, it's clutching at straws, isn't it? It's funny.
Someone else has put at the bottom as well. The Doctor's name is in fact the theme tune to the show. So silly, but I love this story. Love this theory.
Doctor Who, Doctor Who, Doctor Who, Doctor Who, Doctor Who, Doctor Who, Doctor Who.
So the next one is, this person's put the accent theory, : good use of punctuation.
You have been spell checked.
Yes. That the last person that the Doctor talks to influences his accent. Think about it. The War Doctor talks to his Clara. What? Okay, grammar is an issue here. The War Doctor talks to his Clara's voice last, and he starts to regenerate thinking about her voice. And in the next body, he's a Northern accent. The Ninth Doctor talks to Rose last, and he thinks about her, and then he has an Eastern Central London accent. Same as the 10th Doctor into the 11th, and the 11th Doctor hallucinates about Amy and is thinking about her, and as he sneezes, as you do, and in the next body, he's a Scottish accent.
It's a fun little theory, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's coincidence more than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously David Tennant. I don't know
Yes.
who David Tennant is.
That's who he is now. It's David Tennant.
Yes. Obviously, he's naturally got a Scottish accent and I don't know if it was his decision or Russell's or both of them to use a more sort of general British one. It is the same as Rose, to be fair. It is sort of like a London accent,
Yeah.
you know. But could it have been to do that? Would it a deliberate choice? I think I have read somewhere that was a bit of a choice. I don't know if that was followed on through the others, because Matt Smith has a similar-ish accent to Tennant. It's a bit more softer.
Yeah, but
And then
Jodie, last person she speaks to is Yaz, and she sounds nothing like a Doctor now sounds nothing like a Yorkshire lass. He's Scottish.
This is true. This is true. And that sort of poses the question with the bi-generation, well, where does he get the accent there?
Oh, sorry, it goes into David Tennant even, and it's this London accent. Yeah, and now he's Scottish. There was no Scottish people in Unit Tower, so
Yeah, that's why I'm
it
questioning.
falls flat.
Don't worry, I'm on your side. Don't panic. It's okay.
I need sleep.
Just have your bottle and calm down.
It's alright, there's no branding on this bottle now.
Yeah, well, let's not dip our toes into advertising again. I think, yeah, I mean, there's obviously gaps in it, because the 12th Doctor speaks to, you know, himself and the sort of memories of Bill and Clara, and I mean, even then you could say maybe Clara would sort of, because although
Who did
it's
you say
different.
goodbye to last in Twice Upon a Time?
Well,
I think it's
Clara,
Clara.
Bill, and Nardole, because it's Clara, and then it goes back to Bill and Nardole, and they both disappear, and he goes into TARDIS, doesn't he? I mean, maybe you could put it if you were to clutch at straws, but I think it's a coincidence that someone's made a really fun sort of bit of lore around. But then, you know, has it happened at other times? Maybe. I mean, there's not many variations of accents in the classic series, really. It's all sort of just different variations of British.
Yeah, I think the main real change is it goes from. It stays.
McCoy's the only one. McCoy's the only Doctor in the old series that has a regional
I was
accent.
about to say it goes posh to something else, but it doesn't really go from posh to anything else until McCoy comes in.
It's all RP.
And then it goes back to posh.
Yeah.
But then why was the War Doctor not American? Because for those who haven't seen listen to Big Finish,
I
sorry.
haven't seen Big Finish either. Shut my eyes.
The last person he spoke to was American, so why wasn't the War Doctor American? From that standpoint, obviously Big Finish has happened, and it's just done so much for the 8th Doctor. I love it to pieces. I cannot stop listening to it. But you're a bastard for it.
See, when I recommend things to you, I'm doing it for your benefit.
Yes, I know, but it's just me. You just know you're going to be sat in front of a TV or listening to stuff on loop for ages.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the...
Yeah, sorry, off that tangent. But yeah.
I don't really know if there's anything else we could say on that one. I think it's a fun coincidence that's been given a bit of... I don't know if there's any proof for if we could be completely wrong. If anybody knows more than us, then obviously, you know, let us know. But I think it's a fun little coincidence that someone's managed to shape a cool little theory around. And I applaud that. I have a bonus one to throw in, because although I mean, I don't want to take credit for this because it's been flying around Twitter and everything beforehand. I think we've even spoken about it. That the curator is the bi-generated Fourth Doctor.
Yes, since the bi-generation, I have seen this a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
don't cry, it's okay.
I'm not crying, I bloody yawned.
Gets very upset when you talk about bi-generation.
I'm going to kill him.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not his birthday yet, I can kill him. It's fine. No,
I'm going to take that knife back, mister. I'm just going to take that and put that over there. Yeah, this one was flying around a lot. And it makes sense because Russell said that, there's, in a different universe, his own fan theory, essentially. You didn't canonize it, but, you could hint that all of the Doctors have bi-generated at some point. You have Pertwee waking up on the unit floor and everything. And it could work. I quite like the idea of that the bi-generation just means that the Doctor splits off and grows old naturally. I think that's it's quite a fun way of doing it, and it's a good way to bring in, if you ever to bring back more classic actors and just say, well, this is for a timeline from where they didn't regenerate and they bi-generated and they just aged.
Yeah.
It's a very cool way of doing it like that. Whether it'll ever happen, I don't know.
It does open up a lot of doors.
And I think it gives the curator a bit more of... I know the ambiguity of the whole thing works, but it is quite fun to go, it could be a future Doctor, sort of like we know the Doctor can revisit faces. It could be a future Doctor that's retired. It could be a bi-generated Fourth Doctor. I think it still leaves it open, but it's just another way of interpreting it as a Fourth Doctor that woke up on the floor, on the ground beneath the Faros Project and was just like, that was mad. Anyway, going to go run an art gallery now.
Yeah. Yeah, lives that incredible life, and he goes, yeah, I really love art. Let's go do that.
Exactly. I've just saved Big Finish loads of time and money by just condensing the inevitable bi-generation box sets down to like 2 sentences.
Yeah, it's just no point doing that.
Yeah.
Unless you can get Tom Baker to voice it soon. But, yeah.
And on that morbid note...
No, that didn't mean... Jesus, I didn't mean like that.
That's kind of how it sounded.
No, I meant like... Well, yes, he's on a bit, but like while he's still able to like read scripts and stuff and not go completely doolally.
How was that better? How was that better than what I said? How was that better than what you originally... You've made it worse. I guarantee you now, right?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Do you know what? I've got nothing. You finish it.
Oh, bless him.
Don't touch me.
But no, if you like this video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. It'll have been good fun. Big happy birthday to this big boy right here.
Another year older.
Yes, another year.
21 now. That's how I feel anyway. I still feel 21.
I was going to say bullshit.
I was going to say you forgot. No, I'm 24.
Yes, there we
Or
are.
at least I will be on Friday.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be messy.
Oh, we're going to have such a piss up. I can't wait.
Yes.
Anyway, if you want to send me a virtual pint, then you can do so by hitting the subscribe button, because it's one step closer to monetizing this shit, baby.
Yes.
Not that that's our in-game. We love doing it, obviously.
No, we do love doing it.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be here.
No, we wouldn't have invested the money we have for what we got.
I do need to hoover up in here, mind.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Let's go get started on the weekend.
Bye!